Hi everyone, I'm Kendra Perry and welcome to Crazy Happy Healthy. Today I want to talk about how to do paleo on a budget. So I feel like the most common complaint I get is that it's so expensive. Like, switching over to paleo or like just eating real food, it's going to cost all this money and people don't know if they can afford it. And so I wanted to talk about 5 ways you can do it cheaper. But first of all, I'm not even 100% sure that it's actually more expensive. I feel that processed food is really expensive. Like, I'm pretty sure a box of cereal is like $8. And for $8, you can get like good eggs, kale, and you got breakfast for like 3 days. I feel like, frozen dinners and like all these things are just like really expensive. And I don't know how, I feel like it's relatively cheap to just get some vegetables, right? And some fat, saute it up. Anyways, besides the point. Okay, so my first tip for doing paleo on a budget is to buy your meat in bulk. If you just go to Whole Foods or the natural food store or whatever and you buy individually packaged organic meat, it's super expensive. Like, it's ridiculous expensive. And I never buy meat like this. You really you need to buy it in bulk, because if you buy it in bulk, then I don't think it ends up being much more expensive than, the commercial grocery store meat. You can buy half a cow, and, it depends how expensive it is, but I think, half a cow might be around $900. So if you can split it with a few friends, then you fill up your freezer, and then you always have delicious, like, organic, grass-fed, like, non-hormone antibiotic meat in your freezer, which is awesome. It's a great way to, you have to pay the money up front, kind of sucks, but in the long run, I think you save a lot of money and you get to eat good food, which is important. Okay, so my second tip is to meal plan. I feel like if you just like go to the grocery store and you have no idea what you want to cook, you end up buying all this stuff, and half of it tends to just rot in your fridge. Or then you're like, nah, I actually want to eat this, and you go grocery shopping like 2 more times, and yeah, you waste food, and you like triple your grocery bill, and it's not necessary. You just need to think about what you want to eat for the week, and that may only really require making 2 or 3 meals, because if you just make enough on one night, then you can have enough leftovers for the next night. I really like stews for this, but go online, find your favorite recipes and then buy those ingredients, and that way, you're not gonna make mistakes by going out and buying like crappy food just because you're hungry and you just don't know what to cook. I feel like people get overwhelmed. They get home from work and they're like, I'm hungry now, and they want to eat something, and they have no idea. So they end up, getting takeout or something, right? So number 2, meal planning. Okay. So my third tip is to shop at the farmer's market. And okay, so I'm in Canada and it's snowing right now and there's no farmer's market, but for about 6 months of the year here there is. And I know for people living further south, like they might have this option all year round. And going to the farmer's market and getting the local produce is so much more healthy than eating the organic, and it's way cheaper. It's like you're not paying the grocery store and the farmer, you're just paying the farmer, and you're putting the money into that farmer's hands, which is, it feels really good, and this produce is fresh. It was probably just picked like the day before, and it will last in your fridge forever. It like, well, 2 weeks. It'll last about 2 weeks, not forever. But, when you go to the grocery store, I find like my produce is wilting after a couple days, because who knows how long ago it was picked, right? So, I feel like in the summer I was probably spending like 30 to 40 bucks a week on produce, and it was fresh and it was delicious and it made me feel so great. So number 3, farmer's market. Okay. So my number 4 tip, maybe you guys aren't going to like me for this, but it's to eat organ meats. Okay. Because I know everyone thinks it's gross and they have a weird flavor, but in the past, like humans used to prize the organ meats. That was like, they have the most fat in them, they're the most nutrient dense. And now we just don't have a palate for them anymore. No one's cooking them. So, they're really cheap. Like I just got, I think 3 livers for $4, like organic livers at the grocery store the other day for $4. And that has been my breakfast for the past like week and a half. Yes, liver breakfast. It's gross, but it's really good too. And in terms of like nutrient content, like it's the most dense nutrient source superfood. Like it's a superfood. It has vitamin A and vitamin D and fatty acids, and it's just a really wicked food. So you're really getting the best bang for your buck. And I think like most people are afraid of organ meats. Most of us don't have the palate for them anymore. But you just need to try and you need to keep trying. Like, start with heart. I find heart doesn't really have a weird flavor. It's a little bit tougher, but if you marinate it, I made shish kebabs this summer with it. It's really good. Or put it in a stew and, yeah, just like find a way, grind it up and put it in like hamburger meat, like hide it. But it's a really good way to like eat meat really cheaply. Okay. So number 4, organ meats. Okay. Number 5 is to just eat simple meals. I feel like, you go online, you look for all these paleo recipes and they've got all these things in them. They're probably full of like almond flour and, all these really expensive ingredients and you don't need to get that fancy. You don't need to be fancy at all. It's really easy to just saute some veggies and meat. I mean, you go and you have your meat in the freezer. You grab a piece of some ground beef and you stir fry it up with like a few vegetables and some fat and like some sea salt. One of my favorite meals ever is just some like leftover chicken with kale, mushrooms, and broccoli, just sauteed up with a bit of butter, coconut oil, a little bit of sea salt. It's like, that tastes good and it takes no time at all to cook. And, you can learn how to like combine certain spices, and get a little fancy that way because spices are cheap. And then you can kind of switch it up all the time. I feel like people are always trying to like get fancy and they want to do this and that, but like it's really easy, if you just kind of make a stir fry or, something like that. And that's kind of, for the most part, that's what I stick to. And it's really great. So number 5, be simple. Okay. Anyways, so that's all. That's all my tips for today. And if you want to read more from me, you can head over to crazyhappyhealthy.com and check me out. Make sure to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the site, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.